It's Monday night. Welcome to Monday Night Comics. Only on Comics with Dan.
Welcome to Comics with Dan, and welcome to Monday Night Comics. Started a little early. Well, I guess technically I scheduled it later, so I'm starting a little bit late, but a little earlier than the scheduled time tonight. Just thought we'd kind of kick things off and get moving. I had a fairly big pull week last week, and a small one coming up, but still plenty to talk about, plenty going on. So let's get right into it. Let's see what we have going on. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll go through the list of books that I want to talk about tonight. And so we'll start off with Batman Superman World's Finest number 36. So I know a lot of people have, expressed that World's Finest isn't what it used to be without Dan Mora. And I can appreciate that because Dan Mora is an exceptional artist. He's arguably the best in the business right now. So I can understand, having some trouble with that. But I'm going to be honest, this arc has been really fantastic. And I think that this issue in particular was probably the strongest issue that we've seen since Dan Mora left. So currently, what's going on in World's Finest is Batman and Superman are down in Atlantis helping Aquaman with an issue that he's having between essentially these two factions of Atlanteans. And off the top of my head, I can't recall what they're called. I think it has like Poseidians and Tritonians or something like that. Basically, Poseidon and Triton, right? So basically, it turns out the Floronic Man, the enemy of the Swamp Thing, is poisoning the minds of one side of the Atlanteans and making them go to war with the other side, basically. So Arthur's having some issues, kind of keeping his kingdom together. It's a great, political intrigue story. There's a lot of, discussion on if, Arthur has control of his kingdom. In this particular issue, Superman hops in and tries to save the day, but Mira basically tells him to get lost because it's making Arthur look weak, which seems a little silly, but I think is very real thing when talking about, ruling over a kingdom, right? Is that Arthur needs to have not only the actual power, but he needs to appear to have the power as well. So, Arthur, so the Floronic Man is in this, he's in this issue. Obviously, we have this awesome Dan Mora cover on the front here. And let's take a quick look at the preview here. Yeah. I mean, see, I think that, look at how dynamic Gutierrez's art is. I mean, it's just, I don't see the issue with this in the slightest. We got the title page here as part of the preview. I mean, that's a great picture right there. He draws a great Batman. I think, on occasion, faces might end up looking a little goofy, but between Gutierrez's pencils and Bonvillain's colors, I think that the art in this book is as every bit as good as anything else on the shelves. So I'm still really liking it. This one was very dramatic. I won't say what happens at the very end, but it's very soap opera-esque, which, I don't make a habit of watching soap operas, but I think that the drama is fun. at least in this particular case. So, yeah, this is part 2 of this arc. And let's see, and it looks okay. Yeah, okay. So then 37 concludes the arc, and then 38 is where we get into this We Are Yesterday event, right? And so it's an event that crosses over World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited, which I think is really cool. So I'm interested to see kind of how that event plays out. I mean, it could be good. It's 2 of Mark Waid's babies, so definitely going to be interesting there. Next up, let's hop over to Marvel. If you follow my channel, I don't read a ton of Marvel, but I really wanted to get into Miles Morales, and I've been meaning to pick up his solo series for some time now, and I finally just pulled the trigger on it. Ironically, right at the time when it's a crossover is happening, which is something that has been happening a lot to Miles's solo book. And not only that, but it's a crossover with Deadpool, who is not my favorite. Now, that being said, I thought that this was pretty good. I really liked it. I like Cody Ziegler writes Deadpool in a way that it feels like he has all the jokes, and has like the breaking the fourth wall and everything, but he doesn't feel annoying all the time. It feels like maybe on occasion some of the jokes are a little annoying and weird, but for the most part, like a lot of the jokes actually hit, surprisingly. Which I was happy to read. So the crossover is good. So far in the crossover, essentially what's happening is that Deadpool and his daughter are essentially trying to gather up funds to get a weapon that will be able to take on this villain that they fought in a previous arc. I'm not all caught up on Deadpool. I just read the beginning of this Pools of Blood event, crossover rather. And so Deadpool has been given a contract to kill Miles Morales. Well, turns out last issue, or in the Deadpool issue, he shoots Shift instead, which, it's kind of ironic. And I also would like to know, in the comments, let me know, do you prefer Shift or Rec Rap? Which I feel like the two have some similarities between the two of them. One sort of is the Miles Morales version, and one's the Peter Parker version. I'm more of a Rec Rap guy. I just think he's funnier, but either way, it's a good time. So now Deadpool's trying to kill Spider-Man, right? At least that's how this starts out. And so this sort of ends, or actually rather this begins with Miles pulling his Electro sword on Deadpool, which was a cool ending to the Deadpool issue. But it's pretty good. This issue sort of sees Miles and Wade kind of realize that maybe this fight isn't really helping either of them all that much. So perhaps a bit of a team up is coming up here against a common enemy. So yeah, I mean, and let's just take a little look at the preview here. I really like these title pages, like reminiscent of like old boxing flyers. It's got like all the stars on it, and it's Spider-Man versus Deadpool. And it does give a good description of what's going on. And let's see, I want to go back and see who's doing the art on this one. So Luigi Zagaria and Brian Valenza. So I don't know what it is, but it seems like Italian comic book artists are just all so good. Like, I don't think I've come across an Italian comic book artist who isn't fantastic at his job. So I don't know what they're feeding them over there, but I guess mostly delicious food, if we're being honest. But yeah, so there's that Electro sword. I mean, that's a great look. If anybody knows what how Miles got that new suit, again, I'm not all caught up. So if you're watching and you have some insight onto how Miles got that suit, I would appreciate it. Yeah, and so then they take each other on. And so, like, right here, take this or leave this note. Your form's a little sloppy. Not trying to be critical, just want to see the best version of you. Which is a funny thing to say during a fight. And then we've got, and so also somehow, what's his name again? What is his name? I can't remember what his name is, but it's his buddy, and they're eating hot dogs, but the hot dogs don't have anything on them, which I think is a little strange, but yeah, so Miles Morales Spider-Man, it's been pretty solid. It's been pretty solid. There was a reveal at the end of this that I didn't fully understand. So skip through this, or cover your eyes if you don't want any spoilers. But you can see here Princess Symbiote makes an appearance, right? And I don't know who that is. So Genki, that's his friend's name. I remember. But yeah, so I also I noticed that there's a character named Kwaku Anansi, which I think is a really cool. This is the first Spider-Man, but obviously there's the Anansi in African folklore, and I've only known Anansi from the children's books that my kids have read. My wife gets those for the kids, and they enjoy those. So I think that's cool that sort of lore is being brought in to Miles Morales' book. And I think I'm going to go back and try to find the issues where that was introduced. I think that's a pretty cool concept. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on with Miles Morales. We can talk for a second about G.I. Joe. I did not get a chance to read this yet. I will probably be reading it soon. But I mean, we'll take actually, no, there's no preview here. But I mean, so far, all the G.I. Joe stuff is hitting for me. I love the fact that it pulls it's essentially pulling the Energon Universe together. So you have in G.I. Joe, Cobra Commander and Destro are using Energon to make weapons, which the Joe team is trying to stop that. But not only that, but Duke has seen his pilot partner, whoever it is, killed by Starscream. So that connects it to the Transformer side of things. And so, you have this war on Cybertron that has come to Earth, that has affected the G.I. Joe universe in both directly and indirectly through the existence of Energon. And then in Void Rivals, you have a war that also seems to be being fought, or at least like a feud that's going on that also seems to be based in Energon. So it's really cool that, I mean, like, it's called the Energon Universe for a reason, right? And it's because it does all revolve around that specific piece of Transformers sort of canon, that's what powers them. And so, um, modifying GI Joe to fit that, I think, is great. And then on top of that, basically creating all of this out of thin air in Void Rivals. Obviously, Robert Kirkman's he's a genius, so that's to be expected. But yeah, it's just it's all coming together nicely. Crimson Twins show up in this one. Yeah, I think it's funny. Tomax and Zamo, because it's just flipped around. That's the kind of stuff that those old timey comics, cartoons, toys, all that stuff kind of made fun. All right, let's hop back over to DC. We have Nightwing 123. And so this gang war continues, right? And Nightwing is trying to help out the Teddies, but one of the Fly Boys just blew up a police precinct. Well, we've already established that this Teddy's gang is essentially, they're just trying to kind of survive, right? Not necessarily. I mean, they're doing illegal things, right? But they're not necessarily malicious, but rather just, sort of disenfranchised people, right? And then now we're seeing like this subsect of the Flyboys is just people that want to get healed from their mutation, right? And I think that it's really interesting how, first of all, like, and I feel like I have to preface this every time I talk about Tom Taylor, but it feels necessary because, like, I do like his work and I think he's a good writer. But the political side of things with Tom Taylor is just so heavy-handed and in your face that, here are the downtrodden and the, like, look at Nightwing saving them. Well, like, Dan Waters is telling the same story. He's using these gangs to show these are all the problems, in these cities. And he's not making it about, like, look how terrible everyone is for, for having a problem with how these gangs act. I mean, it's almost like Waters is recognizing the negativity that these gangs bring, but at the same time recognizing their humanity, in that they are human beings, that they got this way for a reason. It's not that they're just all these evil, horrible people, and it's not that they're all these wonderful, great people that haven't done anything wrong. It's such a nice touch on the politics of it all, and I think that that's what's making this run so much better than how the last run was put together for me. And it's really interesting that that the themes are so similar in Waters' run so far, and in Tom Taylor's. Just how they're handled is so wildly different, right? I mean, in Tom Taylor's run, Dick is handed $1 billion and essentially, pays his way into helping the people of Bloodhaven, whereas in Dan Waters' run, he's essentially trying to fight against people that are using their money for influence, and obviously they're using their money for the wrong kind of influence. They're beefing up the police officers to be killing machines. But I'm interested to see kind of what the general reception of Waters' Nightwing is, because Um, I think that people that have a problem with it for being political are just having an issue with the message more so than how it's being done, because um, I think it's being done infinitely better than the way that Tom Taylor did it. Um, and that's not to say that I don't think that. I mean, I think that Tom Taylor's run had a lot of good ideas, and I think that like that first arc of Tom Taylor's run was really good. Um, and so the jury could still be out on this run as well. Well, it you know it it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say as to whether or not this is going to continue this way or not. But overall, I'm definitely liking how it's going so far, and I just think that uh, I think it's going to be one that will be remembered for sure. I think it really combines a lot of elements that people like in Nightwing runs. Not to mention Dexter Soy's art. He's like really good. Like his art reminds me a lot of Jim Lee's art. And that's obviously like a huge compliment because I love Jim Lee. I mean, who doesn't? Um, but yeah, I mean the art in this is really fantastic. Um, and like the preview doesn't really do it justice, but like the the action in it in this series has been really great. So yeah, I mean, again, I can't recommend Nightwing uh, enough. It's truly, and so like also shout out to Veronica Gandini. I don't know if she do the last issue's colors too. Yeah, so it seems like she's on all the colors. She's doing a really good job as well. That's fantastic. It's really great colors to go along with Soy's pencils and inks and everything. So absolutely a person to watch out for there. Let's see what we have next. Okay, so that's all I had from a pulls perspective, but I did also pick up some other things, or at least read some other things. So I read Avengers Disassembled. Now, this is what uh, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was very loosely based on. And I thought that this was really good. I haven't read a lot of Brian Michael Bendis. I've read like a little bit of the Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe an issue or two of Daredevil, but it's true what they say about his speech bubbles, how it's just like one after another, after another, after another, and it feels so crammed. Like that's definitely the case here. But that being said, like David Finch is great. I love David Finch's work. I loved his work on the Batman, Tom King's Batman run. So that was really great, and it was just like a really like compelling story. And I mean, I guess like this came out in 05. And these stories came out in 2004. So so I mean, this has like a 90s feel to it, right? And I mean, it's just a really good story. The reason that I picked this up to read was because I wanted to read the House of M, which my understanding is that this is a good sort of prequel to that. So I definitely liked it. It's got a lot of impact. Obviously, it's a well-known story, um, and it's a quick read. You can see it's only 184 pages, and it collects 4 issues. This particular one also had a this Avengers 16, which is just it's the introduction of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver into the Avengers, which I thought was pretty cool to have that in there. But I mean, I could probably read a good bit of this Avengers run. I don't know how much of how much Brian Michael Bendis wrote of the Avengers. Let's check that out. Let's see. So there's the night. Seems like he basically wrote that, which is interesting. So I'd be interested to see like kind of what run came before that. But yeah, I could see myself getting into the other the preceding Avengers stories before this. But my next pickup is definitely going to be House of M, to check that out. I think if I do the interlibrary loan and get the like the full omnibus, like with all the tie-ins and everything, that's how I'd like to read it. So hopefully I can get that. We'll see how that goes. Punisher. So I believe that this wasn't very well received. And the reason that I picked it up is because it's written by David Pepose, who he's a friend of the show. And I thought that I had been really enjoying Space Ghost. So I was looking for, books from the library and saw that his Punisher was there. And I figured, well, might as well, give it a go. And so here's what I'll say is, if I had a complaint about it, and so to be clear, I've started this and I have not finished it yet. I don't have this big attachment to Frank Castle, so it doesn't bother me all that much that that Joe Garrison is not Frank Castle. Here's one thing I will say is that as an accountant, I really like that Joe Garrison is a former accountant, and I think he makes accountants seem cool. Not that we need any help, but the story feels somewhat similar to my understanding of what Frank Castle's story is. So if I had a complaint about the story so far, it would be that it's not different enough from Frank Castle. And I can't say for sure because, again, like, I have read very minimal Punisher. But overall, though, I mean, David Pepose is a good writer, and so it's well written, and I enjoyed it. David has a really, really good grasp on dialogue that is not bland, and it's not like overly cheesy, and it's really balanced, and I like that. I can read it and not get taken out of it because it's too over the top, or not get bored reading it, and it feels like it has meaning, right? So that's present here, right? So like, if you like Pepo's Space Ghost, I think, and you're not so adversely against anyone other than Frank Castle being the Punisher, then I think that you'll enjoy this. It's that it has the same qualities that Space Ghost has. Obviously, it's a different character and it's a different story being told. But I guess I just mean that it has that same writing style, obviously from Pepose, and I like it. So I'm enjoying that so far. I'm about halfway through it, so I'm looking forward to finishing that one up. But I mean, I don't know that it deserves quite the reviews that it got. And you see here, like, Cobalt says that it's by no means a bad series, but not great either. I mean, I would argue that that's somewhat fair. And like, and so this person goes and talks about, Frank's legacy, and it's like, it's a different character, man. Right? I think people just get too up in arms about this stuff sometimes. So that's what I have read over the last a couple weeks. Uh, Stuff that's coming up. One thing I want to point out is Crocodile Black. So the trade paperback is coming out. Let's look at the date. Releases February 26th, so that's this Wednesday. It is a fantastic book. I interviewed the artist Somnath Pal, who really just goes by Som. But he did a phenomenal job. Philip Kennedy Johnson also great. Really, the whole creative team just works so cohesively together. I can't sing the praises of this book enough. So I talk about it a lot on the in the interview with Som, and in addition to that, I believe I have individual reviews of each of the 5 issues. So if you're okay with getting some stuff spoiled and want to make sure that you think you're going to like it, then you can check those reviews out. I have some, insight into the actual pages of the book, but it's really fantastic. I can't sing its praises enough, and so it comes out this Wednesday. So that's definitely exciting. If you're looking for a pickup, if you see it at your comic book shop, it's really great. I loved every bit of it. And then in addition to that, the only item on my pull list this week is Justice League Unlimited. And so we have some stuff going on with Airwave still. Last issue felt an awful lot like it was just a prelude to the Atom Project, which, I mean, to be fair, the solicit starts with Enter the Atom Project, so that's understandable. But it's interesting to see. So, like, I mean, like, let's look at the thing here. And there's, hey, Matt, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night as well. I appreciate you joining the stream. So, and so we have, okay, so the world is ablaze as the Justice League reels from the horrors inflicted by the Parademon Horde. A new threat arises across space and time. With the team racing to put out multiple villainous fires at once, the mystery surrounding the Martian Manhunter deepens, and the techno-terrorist group Inferno makes its boldest move yet as their secret leader is revealed. So I'm interested to see who that's going to be. I mean, and like, that is a great Dan Mora cover, if we're being honest. Emergency evacuation now. And let's see. Yeah, we got a preview here. Baton Rouge Botanical Garden. Oh, I forgot what happened to Swamp Thing in the last one. That's rough. Oh, that's funny. She gets, Alec Holland's daughter gets recruited into the Justice League. Dan Mora really is a great artist. Apparently, I've never heard of her. I didn't know that Alec Holland had a daughter. Ties to the Green. Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, the story in this book is good, but like, it doesn't even need to be, because you could just buy this book to look at it, and Dan Mora just does such a good job that, I mean, like, you could just buy it, like, just to look at the pictures. And so I think that's awesome. But But yeah, so that's what I have pulled. I don't know. You can take a look and see at uh, what other comics are coming out. So we go to Discover, and we can see what DC has coming this week. Featured releases. We got the trade for World's Finest, so in the hardcover. Now there's Penguin, which I stopped reading that, but I was really happy with how it was going. And then it looks like it got split into two volumes here. I mean, how much of this? I read 3 issues into it. I did really like that. Oh, and then it looks like there's excuse me, the some backups from the Batman run. So that's interesting. I have not been reading Hellblazer. Recently announced titles. Okay, so we got Supergirl by Sophie Campbell. And Tamara Bonvillain's a colorist on it, which I think is interesting. Surprised that we know that. Okay, so Sophie Campbell's doing the art and the writing. I mean, I'll consider any book that's colored by Tamara Bonvillain. So, so we've got new Supergirl, Mr. Terrific Year 1. That looks great. Who's writing that? Al Letson, artist Valentine Delandro, Marissa Louise, Lucas Gattoni. I know Lucas; he's a good guy. Okay, so Al Letson does not have any. Look at this. Al Letson has 1 credit on League of Comic Geeks, and it's a New Talent Showcase 2017. That's crazy. Well, so I hope that, I mean, it's looking like this Mr. Terrific Year 1, that's going to be some synergy with, the DCU, because, oh yeah, that's a great cover. Because Mr. Terrific is going to be in the new Superman movie. So I think that this looks like it's going to be fun. I would imagine it's going to be a limited series, if I had to guess. I don't think I have that information on here. This is why movie synergy is great. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else DC is cooking up. One thing I heard is apparently Jim Lee either like hinted at or accidentally announced Hush 3. I can't get behind all this Hush revival stuff, and it's frustrating because I mean, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee are 2 of my favorites, right? And I really like Hush, but this feels like a backward step. I think we need like newer, unproven people writing Batman, to kind of take him in a new direction, not just go back on what's already being done. So, Absolute Martian Manhunter. So the final order cutoff for that's coming up. That's going to be pretty tempting to get on my pull list. I'm going to have to think about that. I think a little time to decide on this Summer of Superman special. There's the World's Finest annual Supergirl. We got some time. Oh, Superman Unlimited. I guess this is part of that Summer of Superman. Oh, okay. So this is the Dan Slott Superman. That's interesting. Okay. So, Matt, I think that the new Superman movie looks like it's going to be one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I am so excited for it. I watched that trailer about 100 times when it came out. So I think it's going to be awesome. I love that I love how all the characters look. Guy Gardner's in it with a bowl cut. I mean, as a comic fan, how can you not love that they actually went crazy and just put Guy Gardner in a bowl cut in this movie? Yeah, and like Mr. Terrific looks great. All in all, very, very exciting time to be a DC fan, I think. So let's see what else we have here. Let's see what Marvel's cooking up here. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the Zeb Wells run. I've been reading that sort of as it comes out in the library. So that's a good good news that volume's coming out. I'm a little behind. I think I'm on volume 8 maybe. Let's see where this goes back to. I have not read Going Green. Oh no, I read volume 10. Okay. So I'm on volume 11. I still need to pick this up and check it out. So I'll be looking for that at the library here in a little bit. Incredible Hulk. I believe I already read volume 3 of that. I did. Yep. Okay. So we've got Hulk coming out. So some good trades coming out. Some final order cutoffs. Godzilla versus Hulk's got to be good. And I love that cover because it shows Hulk as this tiny little dude fighting up against Godzilla. Yeah, that's awesome. And Marvel Rivals. Okay, so I have not been able to get into this because I have a Nintendo Switch and it didn't come out for the Switch. It's reprinting the Infinity comic. Okay, yeah. I mean, you got to expect the synergy there. That's to be expected. Predator versus Spider-Man, Godzilla versus Spider-Man. Love all these versus books. I mean, can't hurt. New Star Wars, so that'll be cool. I don't know if I have room on my pull list. I mean, it's tempting because Alex Segura is writing it, and he's great. He writes. I read his Dick Tracy book that he writes. So that's definitely tempting. It's definitely tempting. Image Comics. Let's take a look at what we have here. We have Department of Truth, The Scorched. Not a whole lot that I'm really recognizing. I've heard Knights is good. Perfect jumping on point for new readers. Luigi Formisano he's a great artist. That could be worth checking out. Radiant Black 31. I'm gonna zoom past that because I don't want to see I don't want anyone to see the spoilers. I accidentally saw a spoiler for Radiant Black, which I mean it's been out for a while, so it's kind of on me for not being able to avoid that. Yeah, Matt, the looking forward to Spider-Man Epic Collection Volume 11. Yeah, I need to get back into reading some older Spider-Man. I read did I read? I mean, I've read the Craven's Last Hunt, and I read another run with J.M. DeMatteis, who's fantastic. So that's definitely those epic collections are something I could definitely see myself getting into in the future here. Yeah, I don't know. Image, I'm not seeing a whole lot of Image that's really pulling me in. There's the Energon Universe special, Blood and Thunder, Moonshine Bigfoot. I think I talked about this in the last stream. That's just wild looking. I mean, that's crazy. That might be something that needs to happen. Okay. IDW. New Ninja Turtles. It says new story arc. New story arc begins here. That could be worth picking up. Looks like they're all back together. I would need some kind of context on sort of what's going on there. Yeah, Matt. I do digital and physical. I will. I used to use Hoopla all the time for my library, and that was great. And I used to have DC Universe and Marvel Unlimited. But honestly, I kind of felt like I was getting like choice overload. So it was I ended up cutting all those off. I get digital comics, from writers and from artists, as well as I get some from like Boom Studios and Mad Cave, to read those and kind of give it some advanced reviews. So yeah, I do both. I don't know that personally I love buying digital comics, although I like to get them from Humble Bundle on occasion, because those are actual like files that you buy, right? And so like if you get them on like Amazon, like through Kindle or Comixology or whatever it is now, like if that platform is gone, like generally speaking, when platforms like that tend to or collapse, the you're able to end up downloading those books. But I need to feel a little more ownership over my my purchases. So the so Ninja Turtles, I'm looking to see if there's any Sonic. So Sonic the Hedgehog 76, good friend of the channel, some random smartass. And so it's not on here, but the DC and Sonic crossover is coming up. I guess it's probably because that's probably under DC. The DC and Sonic crossover is coming up, so that's exciting. Also coming up is, I don't know if it's going to be here. So we got new Darkwing Duck, which is exciting. New Darkwing Duck, and the also there's a crossover with there we go, Space Quest. And the final order cutoff is coming up here March 3rd, so make sure you get that in. It's Space Ghost and Johnny Quest, which will be cool. Definitely picking this one up. That's an exciting one. At last, the meeting the cosmos demanded. The Quest family is legendary for how far they'll go in the spirit of exploration and discovery, but now they're headed for outer space. Johnny and the gang are brought in to investigate a mysterious, potentially alien spacecraft being held at Area 51. And where there's a spaceship, there's bound to be aliens, right? What happens when Space Ghost and Johnny Quest cross paths? The greatest entertainment event of the 21st century, that's what. Brought to you by the acclaimed creative team of Johnny Quest. That'll be cool. I wonder if it'll like actually tie into either of the stories or not, or if it's going to just kind of be its own thing. But I guess we'll see. Looks like there's going to be Captain Planet. We've got new DuckTales. I mean, Dynamite's cooking up a lot of these licensed properties. Could be interesting. Let's take a quick look at Distillery. My biggest issue with Distillery is just it's so expensive, and like they're good quality, at least in terms of like production, from what I understand. But I just can't pull the trigger on a $9 book. It's just a lot, even at 48 pages. Like maybe you're getting a good value, but Yeah. So, hey, Matt, thanks for joining. I appreciate you taking the time. Um, I appreciate that, and you have a good rest of your night as well. So yeah, I mean, like this looks like an interesting book. Like I think I'd like to read it, but the issue is that it's $9 for a book. So I can't for like 48 pages. It's just not in the cars. Let's see. Is Dark Horse cooking anything up good? I'm not seeing a whole lot from Dark Horse. I don't think I realized that Into the Unbeing was a Dark Horse book. We got some Star Wars there, The Witcher. Could be something. Boom, I know. Last stream, uh, I discovered that there was a Peter Pan book coming out, which is cool. And obviously, we talked about Crocodile Black. That's coming out. Hello Darkness is coming out. I'm pretty far behind on Hello Darkness at this point. I need to get caught back up with that. New Graveyard Club from R.L. Stein, so that'll be interesting. The VR Troopers, yeah. So that's interesting because I completely missed the whole VR Trooper thing. Um, when I when I was reading Power Rangers Prime #1, I guess I just didn't realize what they were. So, um, I mean, that's on me. Let's see. Those are the featured publishers. Let's see if I can work this so that I can see. There we go. Because I want to check Mad Cave. Yeah. Gotchamon #7. Let's look at this Pop Kill. That looks pretty good. Imagine a world where the two dominant and competing cola companies, each worth billions, are owned by former Siamese twins who are now separated and have grown to hate each other so much they hire assassins, saboteurs, and espionage personnel to meddle with each other on a daily basis. This is the story about brotherly love run afoul and the people they enlist to do their dirty work. That sounds fantastic. Jimmy Palmiotti's writing, so it's bound to be highly inappropriate, but I don't think that it's getting marketed towards kids anyway. So that looks interesting. That looks like it'll be good. Exit City #4, that'll be good. I got a chance to read Pastime, so that's another one I want to talk about then. I got a chance to read Pastime, and it worked. It worked really well. I was concerned that it wasn't going to be like a real kind of quality read, just because it's like combining vampires and baseball, which is a little weird. But it was good. It was really well written. Joe Harris, the writer, and then Russell Mark Olson doing the art. It was really well done. It felt like historic, but like mythological as well. So kind of a nice little blend there. And I'm definitely looking forward to issue #2 of this. But yeah, I got a chance to read it early. I'm going to do a full review on my page. So it's essentially what it looks like on the cover. It's a baseball vampire. Yeah. So it's yeah, it worked. It worked well. And I'm excited to share what I'm able to with everyone. Uh, I was not a fan of Long Cold Winter. I'm probably gonna check out Defenders of the Earth. I did not like the first issue of that, but I think I could be convinced to pick it up again. Yeah, so I got all these people reading. Yeah, 5 stars on Dick Tracy, 5 stars on Kosher Mafia. That's no surprise there. I need to read Dear Editor. That sounds like an interesting one. Let's see. Okay, so final order cutoff for Pastime #1. I'll need to make sure I get that that video out before then because I want to make sure that people know what they're getting into. I think it'll be I think it'll be pretty good. Let's see, far down below. This is that Chris Condon book, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, that should be pretty solid. That's exciting. Okay. I don't know. Let's take a look at Oni Press real quick and see if there's anything cooking up there. Calavera PI. First issue of that was good. I need to catch back up on that. Definitely worth it for the art. We got some final order cutoff reminders. Plague House. Michael Conrad, Dave Chisholm. Houses aren't the only thing that are haunted this spring. The Architect of Terror, Michael W. Conrad, and 2024 Ringo Award winner Dave Chisholm begin a deep and disturbing excursion into the 21st century with a new kind of tale that will rebuild the four walls of American Ghost Story from the foundation up. 13 years ago, Orrin McCabe was a family man living a privileged life in the suburbs. Today, he's condemned to death row for murdering his entire family, an unexpected fit of hammer-wielding brutality. Sounds like a lot. The aftermath of the crime, fall into a trio of ghost hunters. Could be something. What I'm interested in is this here. Miles Davis in the Search for Sound. That's what he won. I think he won a Ringo Award for. Let's see if we can find this. Miles Davis in the Search for Sound. That looks good. I'm going to see if I can find that. And this, I don't know this user, but that's a 5-star review, so that's solid. So, okay. Well, that looks pretty good. All right. I think that is all I'm going to have for this evening. I appreciate everyone joining and chatting with me and just listen to me talk about comics for an hour. Really enjoy being able to do it, and I'm able to do it more if everyone likes the video and subscribes and shares and watches it from start to finish and all that happy stuff. So make sure you watch the replay, like the video, anything that you can do on YouTube, do it for my channel, please. All right. Thanks everyone and have a good evening.